Hey y'all, I'm Courtney.
And I'm Sarah.
And this is Bodice Siblings,
the podcast where we read all the books we used to steal off our grandmother's nightstands.
And then we drink about it. On this episode, we read Annie's Song by Katherine Anderson. Real talk, this is like our 20th take trying to do the trigger warnings for this one because this book does have some pretty substantial and pretty intense trigger warnings. We have sexual assault. We have ableism. We also have, in terms of the sexual assault, it being done to someone who is always described as childlike. And so that's pretty upsetting.
There's some fat shaming.
Yeah, we have
an internalized fat phobia.
Yeah, we have some fat shaming sprinkled in. This book, while it sounds like only 3 trigger warnings, this book is centered around these issues. Mm-hmm. So if this is something that you think might be a problem, just go ahead and skip on to our next nonsense. Because this, oh boy. I feel like that's just the trigger warning is, oh boy.
But the funny thing is, it does have all these things, and these things are absolutely central to the book, but it's also a very sweet and gentle book.
Yeah.
And like super well intentioned, which is actually making it like much more difficult to approach, in a lot of different ways. So if you are still in it,
yeah,
let's go on to Annie's Song, a beloved book by many, many people.
Yes. So this was written again by Katherine Anderson. Hey, y'all.
Hey, y'all.
How you doing? Again, we are wading into some waters here because this book somehow, even though we have read books where nuns have been raped to death, we have read books where Sidney Sheldon is talking about doing it with Great Danes.
Yeah.
We have read books where, the wildest things happen, but this one is kind of tough.
Yeah, it really is. And it's like a lot of people really, really like it too. And I liked it, honestly. I thought it was really good. Yeah. So there's like a lot of push and pull in the book. So yeah, we've been trying to figure out how to approach it.
So Katherine Anderson is currently living. She is 75 years old. She is a best-selling author.
Wait, she's only 75?
Yeah, she started
really young, huh?
I know, she's baby.
Man, we are really getting old, aren't we?
I know. She started in 1988. Her other popular books, in addition to Annie's Song, are Phantom Waltz, Comanche Moon, My Sunshine, and Baby Love. So yeah, Katherine Anderson did the whole wanted to be a writer since the jump, but went to college and then became a writer. So good for her.
Good for her. The cover is so boring, you guys. Oh my God. It's one of those things where flowers and there's a butterfly. It's morning glories, but actually it's bindweed. If any of you know the difference, that I'm like, there's also a flute. The flute is in the book, I guess. So that's fair enough. Oh God, this is truly bad cover copy. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Oh my God, your teeth are gonna rot out. Annie Trimble lives in a solitary world that no one enters or understands. As delicate and beautiful as the tender blossoms of the Oregon spring, she is shunned by a town that misinterprets her affliction. But cruelty cannot destroy the love Annie holds in her heart. Alex Montgomery is horrified to learn his wild younger brother forced himself on a helpless, quote-unquote, idiot girl. The quotes are in there. Tormented by guilt, Alex agrees to marry her and raise the baby she carries as his own, but he never dreams that he will grow to cherish his lovely, mute, and misjudged Annie, her childlike innocence, her womanly charms, and the wondrous way she views her world. He becomes determined to break through the wall of silence surrounding her, to heal and to be healed by Annie's sweet song of love. That actually is what happens in the book. I will give them credit that it is a factual depiction of the events of the book. It's just like, oh, dude, I would have never read that. Like, if I would have never picked that up and read that, I would have not thought there was any banging in it, for one thing.
While you were reading it, I got, ensorcelled by Katherine Anderson's still, her press photo. Y'all, it's amazing because it's her, 1988 glamour shot.
Oh, good for her.
And I love it.
I'm never changing mine. We should have had our headshots taken 5 years ago. We're significantly uglier now.
I love her so much. So, yeah, I guess let's delve into this bad boy.
Okay. So, essentially, we're just going to present what happens in the book. And just don't assume that because we don't, mention, we're going to talk about it.
We're going to circle back.
We're going to circle back, okay? So, it's okay that we don't pause to talk about how problematic, depiction of disability in this book are, okay?
We're going to try to make this not 5 hours.
Yes. We did read this. The reason we read this is because this is the first romance that we have found that kind of aligns with what a real, genuine romance book that has any disability representation.
Yes.
So we were psyched. And the wild thing is that it's there's good stuff in here and there's terrible stuff in here. So like buckle up, y'all. It's going to be a wild ride.
Yeah. So first thing, it is a historical. I can't remember what.
Oregon.
Well, she's from Oregon. Catherine Anderson is. So I think that that's one of the things that's kind of important to note, because if anybody was treated like this in contemporary, well, people are treated like this anyway.
People absolutely are.
But this book is wilder than hell. All right. So this book is in early 20th century, like just Central Oregon. I think a lot of Catherine Anderson's books are set there because that's where she's from. And the book starts off with, we have Annie, who is, everyone thinks she's developmentally impaired. And she just kind of wanders around,
The innocent child of the forest.
Yeah, she's very, very, again, described a lot as childlike.
But she doesn't speak and she doesn't understand speech.
Right. So everyone, again, thinks she's, that she's got some kind of developmental issue. So she is out in the forest. She's gone and swam in the lake, wearing white, of course, and that kind of situation. So she's happened upon by a man named Douglas, who is essentially the town's Gaston, but worse. As Sarah said, he leads a group of idiots. He's that guy that all of them are scared of him. He's the town bully. He's the town no good Nick.
But of course he's rich.
Yes. Now, he has a brother named Alex, who where everything Douglas is bad, Alex is good. Alex is the upstanding, trying to rein his brother. He's trying to do the right thing in all things.
He's the older brother and he feels responsible for Douglas. And he also looks like him, which is important
later on.
Yes.
So, yes, he comes upon Annie and sexually assaults her. Now, the assault is done off screen, but you know what's coming.
Yeah, I don't want to say it's tasteful, but it actually is pretty tasteful.
Right.
And it's done by a guy who is not supposed to be a good guy. This is not like a romance novel ravishment.
No, so he is hot garbage. And so we cut away. But now what has happened is everyone kind of in town hears what happens. Douglas runs off. And Alex goes and meets with Annie's family. And is like, whatever I can do. And they're like, you've done enough. Your family's done enough. Get away from here.
Yeah, well, a few months later when she starts to increase, then they go back to him and say, okay, what we want you to do is marry her. But don't worry. You're not actually going to have to hang out with our, our worthless trash child. You just kind of can't make all the proprieties so that it doesn't ruin her life. And what'll happen is when she has the baby, you get to keep the baby because everybody knows you had the mumps when you were a kid, and we all talk about your testicles all the time.
Yeah, Alex thinks he is sterile due to his mumps.
And then we'll take her back and we'll just continue to keep her locked up in the attic like an embarrassing thing, like we have been. Okay, so that's going to be the deal. And he's like, that doesn't seem. Does she want to get married? And they're like, shut up, just do it.
And the wedding is awful. She has no concept of what is happening. Mm-mm. The mom is essentially forcing her to do it. And then, again, she's marrying this man that looks like the guy that attacked her. And she's very upset about it. And then they trick her into a carriage like she's a dog. Like when you try to get your dog in the pen or the kennel and you're like, here's the treat. And you throw it in, then you just shut the door real quick.
Yeah.
They do that to her.
So he has to manhandle her to keep her from hurting herself and him. In the carriage. The whole thing is really, it's supposed to be upsetting, but it is actually also upsetting. Truly upsetting. Yeah.
They get to his home and
he's hired a minder for her, like a governess sort of.
Yeah.
And he doesn't know what to expect from her because he's never spent much time with her. Nobody evidently has ever spent much time with her.
She's either in her basement hovel or attic hovel or in the woods.
Yeah.
Those are the two places.
And she doesn't respond to, to them asking her things. And so nobody has tried to really communicate beyond speech with her ever. So what he does is he hires essentially a jumped up maid. And then what she can't say is that this woman's abusing her and pinching her and making her life an absolute living hell. Meanwhile, she's trapped in this house and she doesn't know when she's going home, and it's very upsetting.
She keeps running away, and they'll find it. And
she's really good at it.
She comes back and stuff, and she is an escape artist. Alex lives in this big house, and he's got the mean governess, and then he has a nice motherly maid that also
the housekeeper, but we can't remember her name, so let's just call her Mary because that seems to be every housemaker.
Yeah. So, so he starts to one thing she doesn't eat. She won't eat. And we find out that she thinks she's just getting fat. She
doesn't send her away because she's getting fat.
She doesn't understand that she is pregnant. Mm-hmm. So we have to navigate that.
And so eventually, the housekeeper realizes that her minder or governess or whatever is abusing her, and she lays into Alex. It's great because she's like, you would if you hired a stable boy, you would have checked his references, and you didn't bother. Your wife.
Yeah, exactly.
And you didn't bother to make sure this woman was on the up and up. And I saw the bruises on her arms and all this, and like he's like, oh yeah, I am really embarrassed. Like it's
My
great
bad,
because
guys.
like she gives him the business, and he's like, you're totally right. I am so sorry.
Yeah. So they get rid of her, and the maid and Alex started Mary and Alex kind of start noticing like interesting behavior patterns.
And like, where does she go? Because like we finally figured out how to actually keep her inside the house. They have locked every window like 20 times over, but she's still disappearing. So Alex finally catches her. She's in the attic. And of course, it's one of those attics like you see in Flowers in the Attic.
Yeah, it's the Flowers in the Attic.
With old furniture and like all the cool stuff like nobody's attic really has, at least in the South. Like, oh my God, no. It's just spiders and squirrels up there. Mostly squirrels. But
we had a cool stuff attic.
Oh.
We did.
Aren't
like
you?
we're all like, my dad is a pack rat and he doesn't get rid of anything. He's, silent generation guy. So like all of my old toys and stuff are up there, like all kinds of crazy stuff. I think he finally cleaned it out, but it was like you could go up there and it would just be like, what's this? I remember
awesome.
this.
No, I've always had the kind of attic where you were at serious danger of breaking your leg if you just...
Oh, yeah, no, yeah.
Yeah, so she's up in the attic, and she's kind of made her own little, like, world up there. She's, like, got, like, a tea set kind of...
She's
like,
play acting. She's
play
playing
acting.
pretending. And then
playing house.
And then he's like, wait a minute. She's not mentally... he realizes at the time that, like, she's obviously got some kind of cognition. Like, mentally, like, she's able to create storylines and, like, this kind of stuff.
And, of course, he scares the shit out of her when he discovers her.
And he's like, wait a second. She can't hear me.
Yeah. Because, like, he was standing there for a while, and he was talking to her, and she didn't respond, and she turned around, and she's like, wait. She's a person of value.
Yeah.
And she's just deaf.
Yes. So he realizes that she is deaf, and I think also
No, she lost her hearing when she was quite young from a fever.
Yeah.
So she never learned to speak.
Right. And so
she's not like, I guess, like anatomically mute.
So a lot of the book deals with, him kind of figuring this out, working with her on that. And
this stuff is real sweet. Okay.
Yeah, it's great.
Because he realizes that she can actually hear certain... She can't... Well, and like many people, she cannot hear like human voices, but she can hear like really loud, like really low tones and really high tones. So she loves... Like, he gets her musical instruments and she's like really loud on them. And it should be like super obnoxious, but he's just so excited.
Like she's playing... Like she has a piano that she just keeps
an
banging.
Organ. And you imagine somebody in your house...
And then, Mary's like, oh my God, I needed to stop. Because, it's like... It's basically just like having a kid playing with pots and pans all the time.
She's never had, since she was a small child and she had this fever, she's never had the experience of reliably being able to hear something. And she's so excited. And
Alex tries to talk to her family several times. And they're like, you're trying to make her not be mentally disabled. And she is. And we don't believe you. There's this kind of like push and pull.
And the father really wants to keep it super on the DL because like he had an uncle who had schizophrenia. And so he's afraid. He's like, it's not safe for her to stay with you. They keep trying to get her back.
And especially the mom. The mom is very like adamant about this. And we find out later, like, kind of the root why.
It's the mom who has been keeping her uncle a secret. But also like her mom has this like weird codependent like relationship with the girl. Meanwhile, she just get more and more pregnant, and Alex realizes that she does not understand. He explains, I guess, that she's going to have a baby to her, but she does not, which is weird because she's always out in the woods with her little animal friends like Snow White, but she does not understand pregnancy and childbirth. So she thinks she's going to lay an egg.
Yes.
And so every time she wakes up in the morning, she's looking for the egg in case like it came out in the middle of the night. And the housekeeper is like, you have to explain this. And he's like, well, you explain it. You're a woman. And the housekeeper's awesome. She's like, I'm a spinster. So as far as you know, I think it's an egg too.
Yeah. So he has to like finally like break it down.
Well, no, he makes an enormous mistake. He's a big horse breeder.
Oh God,
yes. There's a horse. He does not do this on purpose. Like there's a lot of commotion out in the stables, and she sneaks out to find out what's going on. And it's a horse that's having a really bad
like
birth.
a breech birth. Yeah.
And so she's like, oh God, that's what's going to happen to me. And she's terrified. She's even more scared than she ever was before. Oh my God, all of this is so horrible for her.
Yes.
So he has to finally explain, like, no, it's going to be like this. And he's like, draw on pictures. And
yeah, it gets real like, like here's this and this. Yeah, it was bananas. But she finally realizes that she's not fat. God.
And they're falling in love as they learn to
as soon as he realizes that she is like that she is not mentally unwell, I hate saying unwell, but like
that she doesn't have a mental illness or an intellectual disability.
Then he's like, she's hot.
Yeah.
But it's the way, it's always
honestly, he thought that before though, because when he went over for the wedding, she wasn't wearing any underpants and she had her legs like over the balcony, and he was like, ooh, my goodness.
Yeah.
But he felt bad about that, at least.
Yes.
So yeah, they it's very sweet and very tender, and they are like genuinely falling in an adult love.
Meanwhile, Douglas just randomly comes back.
Oh my God.
And he's like, oh, I'm sorry you had to marry the R word, and then he's like,
yeah, he also says, and this is an example of the speed change in these books in the 90s. He's also like, I bet you're just like eating pussy all day long. I bet like you wake up in the morning and eat it. You wake up and you get a nap, and then like you get
you got the best thing. She doesn't. Yeah, like it's really gross. It's really. But then he lets him go. I was like. That, and he's like, well,
because he's in this horrible. The book is about bad behavior patterns and about like trauma, like from your childhood, and like the patterns of things that you do your whole life. So yeah, he lets Douglas go because he doesn't know. He feels guilty because he feels responsible for everything about Douglas, and so he gives him money and lets him go. And he thinks he's managed to get away with this without Annie knowing about it, and she's hiding under her covers because you don't think she's really good at noticing everything else in the world except for sound. Like she absolutely saw that man coming.
Exactly.
Oh my God. But so that's honestly, I kept waiting for the other shoe to drop and there really wasn't.
Yes, that was the thing. You couldn't once things finally got good, you couldn't settle into it because you were like, something's going to come.
Yeah.
Something's going to happen. Something's coming for us. He finds, we find out that the mom has been, I think has a little bit of hyper awareness that her daughter wasn't, but it was kind of keeping it from the father because it was a way to protect Annie because the dad, we find out, is sort of gross.
Yeah, and it's the whole thing actually is really realistic. Like you want to really hate the mom, but you kind of can't buy the. I mean, like she's deeply misguided, but yeah, I don't know. It is complicated enough that you can't settle into a real good hate on these people.
No, it's so. I mean, I feel like it's got a heavy funnily enough, because it's on the cover, it's got a very heavy Morning Glory vibe, where like people are doing really stupid things, but you're like, well, they're really well flushed out characters.
So what ends up being the conflict at the end of it is that like he's like, you need to go to school. Like, seriously, there's schools for the deaf, and it's not even that far away. And you can go and I mean, he's been trying to teach her sign language, but of course, he's not an experienced and they're learning together. He's like, you can go and be around other deaf people and you can like get a degree. Yeah. You can learn how to read and how to write, and you can do all these things. And you could, I mean, it would only be a couple years, and you could take the baby because then by now the baby's been born. And she's like, I don't want to leave you. And so all of the things that he could have done, okay, obviously his sin here is that he doesn't ask her what she wants. But he just dismisses out of the hand the idea that he could just go with her. Like, well, she'll never make friends that way. Well, maybe you could try, dude. Maybe you could actually like.
Why would you you're not doing it. Like, I guess. Like, he doesn't really have a job.
No.
So, like, you could have just
gentleman farmer. Come on.
Like, just go get a boarding house and, come up with something.
That's the obvious solution. But no, and she feels like she's being sent away because, like,
again,
she is.
She's, like, got such a history of, like, people just, like, shipping her off or doing stuff with her.
And he said she starts sending letters because she's learning how to write. And they're getting, but he's like, she's mad at me. I can just tell them these letters that she's mad at you. Yeah, because she sent her away without asking her what she wanted. So he goes to see her, and like she's just so upset, even though like it's great to see like she's made friends. She goes to dances, there's even like some attractive deaf men that he was like, wait, I didn't think about that.
Didn't think about the deaf guys.
Didn't think about the deaf guys.
They weren't in my plan at all.
And so
you never hear them coming.
you actually did. That actually comes up. I'll talk about it in the sex bits of this. Like it does.
Yeah.
It absolutely comes up. But he comes up. And so like he finally like has a heart to heart with her, and she says, "I want to be with you. I want to go home." So they go home, and I'm like, "Why don't you just stay there?"
I know. Like, wait,
she's flowering.
You're rich enough that like you could come and see her once a month or so. You know, like you're rich, like you have that kind of money. Even though she's like across the state, you can get on a train, buddy. People do it all the time. And you know, she ends up pregnant. We find out that his balls really do work.
Oh, I hate that. You know, I hate an infertility.
They just let him be infertile. You know what? Yeah,
they have a kid anyway.
Yeah.
Looks like them anyway.
You've already got one. Well, he does later like rectify the whole Douglas situation and ends up turning. I think he ends up turning him in because he finally realizes.
I don't remember.
He finally realizes that like he's not solely responsible for his brother's actions, and that by protecting his brother from all he's not being held accountable, and he's overall done worse for him than good in his life because he's always there to bail him out of stuff.
Essentially, what he's learned through this whole thing, which is a good lesson to learn, and actually comes up in the other book we're recording today, is that like you shouldn't try to make decisions for people without them.
Exactly.
You need to grow out of feeling responsible for everybody else's problems and let them make their own decisions.
Yes. And so, it ends up, she ends up becoming. I liked that all this. I was waiting for like we're going to cure her kind of thing.
Yeah. No. She is still absolutely deaf.
Yeah. But they end up, happily ever after. He gets her one of those little things you put the ear horns.
Yeah. She's got an ear trumpet.
Yeah, she was so excited about the ear trumpet.
But you still got to yell into it. So I mean, I really appreciate it. I mean, let's go into questions because now we can talk about like all the stuff that there is so much stuff to talk about in this book.
Yeah, there's a lot.
Okay, so big dick energy or big dick energy?
Oh, he's great. I mean, I think overall he is probably our most like cinnamon roll. Like,
yeah, he's very sweet.
He, aside from the missteps and things that he does, it's never out of a place of callousness. Just more like
he's always got the best of intentions. It's just like he has to learn that people know what's best for themselves, especially people with disabilities know what they need more than you do.
Yes, he's like a dude. He's like a real dude who just like bungles his way into trouble and then like gets himself. He's again best intentions.
Yeah, absolute best intentions.
Very hot. He's very handsome,
and he changes his behavior more than once when he is called out on it.
Yes, we love it. We love to see somebody like evolve, and
it's good.
So I liked him a lot. He might be, he was one of my like up there.
Yeah.
Not complete.
Of course, it's a 90s one though. So it's kind of like, gotta grade those on a curve because of course they're going to be better.
Yeah. No, I really enjoyed him. He's
not the guy from the hood. Okay.
No, nobody's ever going to beat that guy. Nobody's going to beat that sexy bad boy accountant for me. Like, never, ever. Matt. His name was
Matt. You're right, Matt.
I know. We should do a rankings of our faves sometime.
Yeah, we should.
So, yeah.
Yeah, he is great. Of course, his brother is equally horrible.
Yeah.
But of course, you're supposed to, I guess, contrast that. But,
yeah.
No, he is the thumbs up good guy. Would you talk shit with or about the heroine? She's too good.
She couldn't hear it anyway. Courtney. You can take that out. Courtney. Come on, that's a good joke.
She could tell by your face.
That's true. Well, I think like she's like, I don't know. They don't ever do like a lip reading thing. There's none of that. No, she is too good. She's too pure. I think what was interesting is like most of it is kind of from his perspective, which is, I think, a little bit more unusual with, even 90s romances. It's kind of like we do get some back and forth, but it's mainly his book. So.
Yeah, because he's the one who has to change. Like she is. Yeah, fine. I mean, she gets to learn to do things.
Yeah, again, she gets it once they realize she actually gets enrichment in her life and not just left to her own devices.
But she's not changing as a person. She's just learning skills.
Yeah, she's learning skills, but she's also learning how to socialize and be around people.
But he's the one who needs to grow.
No, but yeah, she's a little too just like. All right.
Well, let's move up. Would Florida ban it? Because we got to talk about the disability representation in this book.
Oh.
Okay, so I went to South Carolina public schools, as did you. What did you learn about Helen Keller in school?
Oh my gosh, I don't. Did we watch the movie?
Oh, well, I'm sure we could definitely watch the movie. I learned about Helen Keller in school about like Annie Sullivan and the miracle at the water pipe, and learning to finger spell and all that sort of thing, and that Annie Sullivan herself had been disabled. And I did not learn that Helen Keller made her fortune as a speaker. I guess I knew that part, but I didn't know as a socialist. Power to the workers, birth control, anti-poverty.
No, I didn't have
No,
that.
I had no idea that she was a socialist icon. Please don't Google eugenics. You never do that with an American person who seems really cool in the past. Don't do that. It's like British people with turf. But otherwise.
No.
Helen Keller was a hell of a progressive. And that's like what her speeches were about. It wasn't just like she was doing
we never
tricks.
really got into like her as an adult. It was always her as a kid.
Exactly, because like it's part of this narrative about people with disabilities being innocent or, childlike in some way. And what it is about like, her learning to communicate, not ever what she actually had to say. So this book is very much like that. Like it calls her childlike, it calls her innocent constantly, even though she's got them big naturals. Don't forget, he loves those.
Oh yeah, she does have some big old bitty.
Yeah, she does.
What she lacks in talking, she makes up for him too.
Yes, she absolutely does. But and then there's this whole thing that her deafness is acceptable. Like her mother is shocked and horrified when she finds out she was just deaf, but it would have been completely fine to treat her like that, to like lock her over in the basement or whatever, if she had the intellectual disability or the mental illness that they were afraid that she had.
Right. And again, it's all that, it's like really just the childification of her that is, especially like in dealing with, the assault, and it's like it's very upsetting.
I mean, not that it would be okay to assault somebody who did know where babies come from.
No,
but when you assault somebody who doesn't,
I feel like it was the closest that you could have to having, like, if you wanted to put in some kind of like child trauma.
Yeah,
like the closest they you could skirt it. That's what it felt like, and I think that's why
it was exploitatively written.
No.
Yeah. It wants to kind of have its cake and eat it too, right?
It feels very much like, again, good intentions, but we know how good intentions are. But like we said too, it was nice to see a book with somebody with, a disability, and especially one that's not visual. You know, that's the other thing. We do get like, sometimes you'll get somebody losing,
you'll get a blind heroine sometimes,
or like a leg. Somebody's got a leg. Like we've had people with like a weak legs or whatever. You know, so it was nice to see kind of those unseeable.
And something that really affects her life. Like,
yes, yeah.
And this is a true romance novel. This is a love story with a happy ending. So it takes her happiness seriously. It takes her romance seriously. It doesn't deal with her like a child in that respect.
Yeah.
It is, she is certainly an adult, and the book treats her like an adult.
Yeah.
But everybody else treats her like a child, and the way that she's described is, very wide-eyed and...
just again, innocent.
And she's always wearing white. It's like that.
Yeah.
So on the one hand, like you want to be, because I mean, imagine if you were deaf and you found this book in 1996. Amazing.
Right.
A book about deaf people having sex.
Yes.
Oh my God. Right. Like, and we have not seen any that were like this previously. Now, if y'all know of one, we would love to read it, but this is the first one that we found.
Yeah.
And so it's great for that. But at the same time, it's also like got all this stuff around it that is like,
yeah.
Not the way, I mean, I understand sometimes you got to take the representation you're given.
Yeah.
If you want to see any, but this has as much bad as good about it in like, a lot of different harmful ways, even though.
Right.
Yeah. So, it's thorny, right? Like,
and I think too, like you said, I think like her being hearing and speaking impaired, like it doesn't really equate to like why that girl was just like knowing nothing about it. Like she's so observant.
Yeah, I really feel that a truly accurate version of Annie would have known a lot more about the world.
Yes, that's like my other issue with it is like I would have liked to have, I think what would be interesting now is the kind of if this book had happened again, to have it where she like homegirl knows what's going on, but she's like keeping it to herself kind of thing. Like, well, I'm going to let him keep thinking I don't know anything. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
so that I can have this, certain amount of freedom and
right.
he doesn't
Like
bother
I
me.
would have liked that. I would have liked to have seen that because again, like, like you mentioned earlier, like she doesn't really have any agency until he like comes in and gives her agency.
He saves her.
Yeah.
Yes, he does. And he saves her like through the Sears catalog, honestly, like through getting her things like ear trumpets and organs and flutes and, a sign language manual and that sort of thing. Like he opens her up to the world, which is awesome. But it's also, of course,
like, again, I would have liked to have seen it be where she kind of knows what's what.
yeah, she's a damsel.
Yeah. And I think that was for me. I mean, I wish that somebody could save me with the Sears catalog, especially like the toy edition, like the Christmas
wish
one.
book.
Oh, the wish book. God, that book, that was like my first iteration of porn. I was like, yes.
I would like dog ear every page. Oh my God. Sometimes I had to dog ear them like kind of twice and backwards because I would like to get like the front and back of that page, all of it.
Wouldn't you love to have a wish book to look through?
They tried to send me one from Amazon a couple of years ago and I was like, this is terrible.
No, I want one of the old ones because I want to see because I always like went through all the adult stuff to go to the toy. Now I want to look at I want to see what they have. I want to look at those like full on luxurious shower curtains that like look like a window treatment. You know what I mean? Like where it was like swathed, like your shower curtain. It was like a king's bed. Exactly.
It was peach.
Peach
yes,
with
my parents had that in their
with
room.
lace on it too, like because and I was like, how did they keep this?
I want to get some ceramic ducks. I want to know.
Oh my God, I missed with a tie, a blue tie.
Oh yeah, and a bonnet. I would like some brass animals.
Yes, give me all of this. I'm here for it.
What kind of ashtrays can we get? Do you think?
I'm here for a big wooden spoon to hang up on my wall, like
weird mirrors.
Yeah, so
weird mirrors.
We love Alex because he brought the Sears wish book to us again. But yeah, I feel like that would be the thing that I would like to see.
But I hate to like dog on this book because like, again, we haven't found anything like this.
Right. And again, it's like I said, I think there's good and bad to it. I think it's worth reading if you're not going to be bothered by this kind of stuff because I felt like it really did try. And it, again, it tried when this is wild to me. I had my daughter watch, the second Ghostbusters because she watched the first one, really liked it. And I was like, for me, the second one's fire. Like, that is my favorite Ghostbusters. I love Ghostbusters 2 with Vigo, like the Destroy. She could not get into it because she hated the Peter McNichol character so much because he was slightly like making advances toward Dana. And I was like, that offend? Like, and I mean, it's great, but I was like, oh my gosh, when I make you watch a John Hughes film,
oh Jesus,
your head's going to explode.
Yeah. And just what we were expected to accept in entertainment is really wild.
Yeah. So I think that like, again, this was really like trying, but just hindsight and how we can look at it and grow from it.
It's well-intentioned, but of course, well-intentioned can be really, really harmful.
Yeah.
So, so that's what we came up with that. When it comes to consent, is this book more Robin Thicke or Marvin Gaye?
All right, so obviously we have like
that's the bad guy.
Yeah.
It's really, he's one of those guys, the good guy is one of those guys that like, he doesn't want to like go all the way, so he won't do anything. And so what happens is, of course, she's traumatized by the assault. So she doesn't want to go below the waist, but she is 100% here for everything above the waist, right?
Yes.
And he won't give her the
business.
Yeah.
She is very, I do appreciate that, like, in this, it's her kind of coming on to him.
Yeah.
Because, again, like, the power balance between the two of them, like, I feel like that's what works in it, is that she's kind of the sexual aggressor. Because if it was otherwise, it would have felt gross.
Yes, absolutely. So, yeah, so he holds back from her, like, way too long. Because, well, he doesn't want to scare her. He doesn't want to hurt her. Fair enough. But she's like, please watch these studies.
Yeah, she's like, come on. They're right here in your face. And when they finally it's
good. No, it's absolutely good.
But again, like what like we're gonna get into it when they finally do start doing it. It's a whole new journey for him because girl has no like.
Oh yeah. That's the part that I actually quite liked because like of course because she is deaf and has been since childhood, she does not understand that other people can hear her.
Yes,
she does not
yelling
the house down. It is amazing.
Like Mary's downstairs doing stuff. She's like, whoa, like okay, I got ya, I got y'all. I know what's going on.
It's great. It's just
like the first time it happens, it scares the shit out out of him, too,
Yeah.
because he's like, whoa, because she's like hollering. And
Yes.
it's like my old Beagle that's like now deaf, and like she only has one volume and it's just loud in your face.
Yeah.
So I enjoyed that, and I felt like it was kind of this cool, realistic depiction.
Yeah,
of it in there.
absolutely. It would surprise him, but as but what would happen? We forgot Backyard Bitch. It has great female relationship.
Yeah, she like, her and Mary, and then her and her mom kind of mend.
It's complicated, and that's
Yeah.
like legitimately complicated. No, I loved. Of course, this is a longer book, so there's more room for that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But it's fantastic for that. Like,
Yeah,
really great female relationships in this.
Yeah.
How badly are you judging your mom off for reading this book? My mama would have absolutely read this book.
Oh my
This
gosh,
is
she would have
such
loved it. This was how her
a mom book.
Yes, this is like her absolute book. She'd have been so into it.
Well, no, we already did that one. You're not leaving the house looking like that. He is upset that she never got a wedding dress, and she just wants presents. Like, she's never really gotten presents, and she's never gotten nice clothes or whatever.
That's the thing that's crazy. Like, because, her mom would say, oh, I put her in nice things, and then she'd go, like, run and get muddy. I was like, y'all didn't even give this kid presents, man.
Yeah.
Like,
wow.
God.
Yeah, I mean, they treat it, well, no, I was going to say they treat her like a pet, but I give presents to my...
I know. I put a sweater on my dog.
Yeah.
Like, she's always in a white gauzy thing.
Which, of course, like, tracks with all that stuff. But once he realizes that she wants to wear nice things, he's like, oh my God, he orders her the entire Sears catalog.
I mean, again,
so I don't remember any specific outfit.
No, but we love
our
it. We love, like, again, we get a lot of, like, fun item descriptions, just not clothes descriptions. Again, he got her the little ear trumpet. He got her, like, the musical instruments, like the flute and like all these things. So
but he also got her like the entire like rail car full of clothes too. It's fantastic. Like, oh my God. Yeah. It makes you really happy when it finally happens. Would your 12-year-old self have dog-eared any pages? Yes.
This book does get dirty.
Yeah.
It's like good descriptive.
They fuck.
Like, yeah. Like they are, she is riding it. She is
yeah.
railroading.
And he, again, like what we said before, is very happy to go downtown. But of course, it's a 90s book.
Yeah.
That's the oral sex fault line.
Yeah.
Yeah, the what do they call it? The KT boundary is where the big extinction event happens, and you can see the iridium spike and everything. I don't know exactly what year that is for romances, but this is after it.
Yeah. He is down there all the time. He just lives down there.
It's great. It's props to
Yeah.
we salute.
I mean, even Douglas the
villain
villain talks about going downtown.
Like, man, if I had her in my house, I'd just be down there all the time.
It's like, okay, like, all right, you're awful, but like at least you know to do that.
Yeah, like
what?
thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Yeah, it was very strange.
What pairs nicely with a dumpster fire? It has to be like like a cordial by the fire or something. It's that kind of cozy-ish book.
It's a cherry cordial that you drink with your best friend Diana.
Oh yeah, okay.
And then you accidentally drink the cherry wine instead, and you get her drunk,
Yes.
and then her mom doesn't let you come over.
Yes. It's honestly, it does have a little bit
How
of
about that for a deep cut, ladies and gentlemen?
Not a deep cut. Everybody listening to us got that.
Well, that's where we're all deep cut people.
No, it does have a bit of an Anne of Green Gables vibe,
Yeah,
right? It's like very into that sort of just...
That aesthetic. She's running around in that white dress that Anne wore when she got grown up.
Yes, absolutely.
It's that dress.
Well, same time period.
Yeah.
So, so should a human being in the year 2024 read this book?
I think go into it kind of with caution.
Yeah.
I think it's a good book. I think I felt like it wasn't just like it had some meat to it. It had some,
It was long as hell, and I read that thing in 2 days.
Yeah. Yeah. It reads really quick. But again, like you understand that, well, you can read it because spoiler warning, the other shoe does not drop, but you keep waiting for it. And it's that kind of thing. And like, if you don't know what's going to happen.
People are too happy. They got happy too early.
And you just keep waiting for it and it doesn't happen.
Yeah. And even though Courtney had read it first and told me that, I was still doing the exact same
right.
thing.
Like you're just like, oh, but yeah, I think that this is a good one to read. And especially like to look at how we approach people with, physical and mental like differences.
Yeah, this is a good one especially if you are interested in the way that people with disabilities have been portrayed in media.
Yeah.
Like this is I think kind of I bet 96 you would find other stuff that is like similar in concept, like that good intentions, but really paternalistic. So yeah, good example of that. And if you're trying to look for stuff for your dissertation,
yes, this is the
here's one for you.
We're helping you out. We're helping you synthesize the data. I've been synthesizing data all semester.
Good for you. Go do that.
Only a few more weeks.
I have the job you're getting the degree for, and I just tell people where the bathroom is.
No.
Yeah.
I mean, I have the job too. I just have to get the degree to get another job. And all I do is tell them, like, please don't smoke weed in the bathroom. So, librarians are always in the bathroom.
Yeah. Here's the bathroom. If you want to know more about us or subscribe to our Patreon for exclusive content, you can visit us at bodicetipplers.com. Bodice Tipplers is part of the Frolic Network. Find more podcasts you'll love at frolic.media/podcasts.